Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Today, I have a special guest with me. Is William. I forgot your last name, William.
Emerson.
Emerson. Yeah, that's right, William Emerson. And William's from England. He came over here for a week and did an interview with us for a possible internship. And Jan and I and the boys got to spend a week with William, and it's been a real pleasure, William. And I just wanted you to kind of give a little background on what drew you into your interest in regenerative agriculture?
Well, it probably all started with Justin Rose's video he did of you quite a few years ago, and I watched it and I was like, oh, what this guy's doing is pretty interesting, but my God, he's leaving a lot of grass behind. I would have grazed that off a bit more. And then you go down the rabbit hole of regenerative agriculture and you realise quite how much you're doing wrong to the land and the soil. So that's what has brought us here, essentially.
Yeah. Well, people don't realize that, there's as much life below the soil as there is above the soil. And so we've got to feed that life. And so one thing that we like to stress is on your daily movements. When you move your animals out of that pasture, hopefully you've left some behind. And that feeds the soil biota, all the microbes. And people say, but Greg, that's waste. You've wasted that grass. I'm like, no, we didn't.
Not at all.
Not at all. And matter of fact, my great friend from Africa, Ian Mitchell Innes, he talks about the lovely litter bank and how sometimes a grass blade, if this is a grass blade in my finger, and the animals come along and trample that on the ground, rather than putting that in their belly, sometimes it's worth more to give it to the soil. You'll get a higher return giving it to the soil than running it through an animal, because you need to build your soil fertility. Now, once you get that soil fertility going, then you can harvest it. But starting out, sometimes it's better to trample some, a majority, maybe half of it, rather than putting it through the cow. So anyway, back to you, William. In England, what part of England do you live in?
Northeast England, County Durham's the county I live in.
So do you have, is it pretty flat land or is it mountainous? Do you have lots of trees? What's the terrain like?
We live in quite a steep valley, but there is quite a lot of rolling hills, but only like 20 minutes down the road it starts to get quite flat, like your ground around here.
Okay, like out on the prairie.
Yeah, out on the prairie.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of flat ground around here.
No.
But you were talking, I saw a picture of his farm. He was showing it to me on Google Earth, and I'm like, where's the trees at? And so you explained, where did all the trees go? Back in the center,
Well, this is where I was showing Greg the street view of the fell where we run our fell sheep, and that used to all
felled.
Yeah, common FELL, and it's common land grazing. So there's quite a few different graziers put their sheep out on this big lump of ground through the summer, and that used to all be trees until it all got deforested, like in medieval times, to build houses and whatever else they needed timber for.
Ships.
Yes.
Yep.
And then that all went into heather moorland, which is what it is today, and it's managed for grouse shooting.
For grouse shooting.
Yeah.
No, it's just a whole different. It's a whole different deal. I mean, we don't have. There's some grouse over, but nobody manages grouse shooting. But that's a tradition in England.
Yeah, it's a big part of the local economy.
Yeah. So you graze. You put your sheep out, and several other landowners put their sheep out with yours.
Yeah.
And they graze this big. It's a big area.
Yeah, it's quite a big area.
How many acres was it? You told me.
I think it's around 6,000 acres.
And they're just grazed out there in the summertime. Then you bring them back to your farm.
Yeah.
In the fall.
But the sheep know where their kind of area is, and they stay roughly in where they're meant to be. Yeah.
They don't just go everywhere?
Well, they do sometimes, but the majority of them stay where they're meant to be.
So you out there with a shepherd's cane every week, kind of checking on your sheep, or how do you
We're
do
lazy.
that?
We go with quad bikes.
Quad bikes, okay.
Quad bikes and dogs.
Okay, you've got some good dogs, I think.
Dad's got some very good dogs. I've got all right ones. They do a job.
Yeah. So they round the sheep up.
Yep.
By voice commands.
Yes, voice or whistle.
Yeah, and you're running a wool sheep, so you were telling me the other day that you have to shear those.
Yes, we have to. We gather them. We gather them for shearing on the fell, and then we gather them for weaning, taking the lambs off, and then we gather them for dipping, like for sheep scab control and lice, and then we gather them to take off the fell for the winter.
Okay, so you would shear those sheep right before they lamb?
No, we'd shear them end of July time.
End of July time.
Yeah.
Okay. And where do you sell your wool at?
It all goes through the wool marketing board, and it's absolutely worthless. Not worth.
I've heard that it's almost not worth. I mean, you got to shear it off.
You've got to shear it for the animal welfare, but it's not worth doing at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, in the day, wasn't there a wool market? I mean,
yeah, it was worth a great deal. They said that you could pay the rent for a farm just with the wool off the sheep.
No way.
Yeah.
What? I guess the synthetic materials came along. And
Yeah,
so people are wearing. It's not wool. You got a wool. That's wool.
Yes.
I can tell by looking at that's wool. Yeah.
But it's not swale. Swale wool is like the equivalent of barbed wire. It's really coarse.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it only goes into carpets, so it doesn't really have much of a market. When I was out in New Zealand, they had merinos, which had a much higher value.
Okay.
The wool that came off there.
Well, I heard even in New Zealand though that their barns are filling up with wool. That the market's. Really...
I wouldn't be surprised with the COVID slowdown of. And China's just not taking it.
That's what it was. China wasn't taking the wool anymore. So, hair sheep, that's what we run. And William's been kidding me. He's getting ready to leave today to go back to England. He wants to take a St. Croix ram with him in his suitcase. I told him, I said, I don't think he would go through customs very well. But
we could try. The fallout would be when I got back home and put it amongst my own sheep. I'd be socially ostracised in the area.
What have you done to your sheep?
Yes, that would be it.
They're not growing any wool. But so it's just interesting, and we're actually going to get a chance. Jan and I are going to England in June, the end of June. It's the Carbon Calling Conference.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be speaking there, and you were telling me it's kind of right over the mountain from where you live, kind of?
Yeah, there's like a mountain range that goes up in our area called the Pennines, and we're on the east, and Carbon Calling is just on the west. It'll be about an hour and a half away from where I live. So an hour and a quarter.
That's not bad.
No.
Well, Jan and I have kind of made it a point. We're going to give you a holler. We're going to come over and check you out.
Yeah, you can come over and see how backwards we are.
No, we're not going to do that. It's just going to be awesome to see your part of the country.
Yeah.
And how you do things over there. And, it's just like us. When he came here, he had a pretty neat experience, and we go to your place. It's going someplace new and seeing other people do things. Folks, you'll always pick up a few tips. So I think this networking, I can't emphasize that enough. In this business of regenerative agriculture, you should be networking with as many people as you possibly can, because down the road somewhere, that person may come in a great value to you and something that you want to do, whether it's seed stock or maybe marketing, or they may know somebody that has something that you need. And so anytime you go to a conference, folks, a grazing conference, network with as many people as you possibly can, and that's going to help you. And write it down, write down notes and contact names, and get a email or a phone number, because my phone is full of people's phone numbers, and I look through that occasionally, and I'm like, I need to call that guy, and so it's just phenomenal. But William, it's been a real pleasure. Jan and I have enjoyed you.
I've enjoyed being
here, and I know the boys up on the top of the hill, Connor and Isaac and David, their heart goes out to you as well. All the best to you in your journeys, and I hope to see you down the road one of these days, and thank you for this interview.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Much appreciated.
All right, and safe travels to you. Folks, those of y'all new to the channel, on the way out, if you would, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you all down the road. Take care.
See you later.